This is Hannibal on TV Podcast Industries, the final episode, episode 13 of season 3, The Wrath of the Lamb. Welcome back, Fannibals, to this, the final episode of Hannibal on TV Podcast Industries for Season 3, the podcast about the hit TV show. I'm one of your hosts, John.
I'm one of your hosts, Irene.
And we are joined here today by our editor-in-chief, so let's salute him.
Dib dib.
Hi, I'm Derek. I'm the third and final host for this episode. Thank you very much for having me on, guys. Really good. Loving the show so far and loving the episodes that you guys have done on the podcast. So delighted to be invited to talk about Hannibal tonight.
Why, thank you. Derek is here to react with hammers and swearing to
hopefully not reenact.
To our thoughts and all that, and obviously add in some of his own. So we are going to go through from the tableau to the table for this amazing final journey of Hannibal, Will, and the Red Dragon of Season 3, The Wrath of the Lamb. Remember, this is a mature podcast, so there will be mature cheese being eaten, there may be swearing, discussions about murders, a rack of lamb, and of course gore, horror topics, and quite possibly large amounts of screaming, now that Irene has informed me that the shed at the bottom of the garden looks something straight out of a horror movie. Because that's...
In a good way.
Because we are together. Together at last, Irene. We normally are Skyping our podcast.
Oh God, you've given all the secrets away.
I know, all the secrets gone, but we are actually in the same room, so we can look at one another and gaze longingly as we talk about horror topics. And of course, Derek's in the middle.
Absolutely. We want to say a very fond farewell to Pamela, who's been a very useful presence over the course of the podcast, helping Irene's recording get all the way across to our podcast room for the editing. So thank you very much, Pamela.
Yeah, Pammy, your work is done here, I think. Thank you.
It's been real, Pam.
It's been real. And just to remind you that you can find and listen to us at www.tvpodcastindustries.com/iTunes or any other good podcast catcher, such as Beyond Pod, Pod Addicts, Player FM, or Stitcher. Just search TV Podcast Industries. And of course, you can go back, subscribe, and listen to all our podcasts on the 13 episodes of Season 3, along with our San Diego Comic-Con special. And remember, as always, you can provide us with feedback through our Twitter handle at TVPod Industries, or send feedback directly to us at feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com. And of course, this will not be our last podcast on Season 3 of Hannibal. We're going to take a series look at episodes 1 through to 13 and pick our finest bits, our finest cuts of Hannibal, and of course his victims, as we look back at Season 3 as a whole.
And also we'll have an outtakes reel.
I don't know if we do, actually. I think our editor has binned them all.
We might have edited those completely out.
Oh, sorry, okay. There's a funny one where you kept calling Will Derek.
Willick.
And remember, in each episode of the podcast, we look at the murder tableau for each episode, followed by our our favourite points from each episode, our entree, our main course and dessert, and finally we look at Hannibal's table and the food he has enjoyed or other people have enjoyed, and nobody has enjoyed some of it, to be honest.
But I think with that, on with the show.
John, do you want to unveil your synopsis?
I will, and what an unveiling it is. It's probably my longest synopsis to date. But, fittingly, for such a jam-packed, amazing episode of Hannibal. This week's episode was episode 13 of Season 3 of Hannibal. It was directed by Michael Reimer and was written by Nick and Tosca, and of course again Brian Fuller and Steve Lightfoot were on bass guitar and drums respectively. So Francis Dolarhyde stages his suicide, allowing Reba to escape the wrath of the Red Dragon under the belief that he is dead. and to throw the FBI off his scent. But Dolarhyde has other plans to meet with and kill Hannibal as he ambushes Graham, demanding that he leads him to Lecter. Will, however, has grand plans of his own, as he seemingly hatches a plan with the knowledge of Jack Crawford and Alana Bloom to capture, or is that slay, Francis Dolarhyde, using Hannibal Lecter as his ploy. After Hannibal has agreed to draw out Dolarhyde following a visit by Graham, counter plans are drawn up by Crawford and Bloom to kill both Lecter and Francis once they are caught. But the truth is revealed to Bedilia, where Will reveals his true intentions of aiding Lecter's actual escape and joining him. Bedilia, whiskey in hand, voices her own self-interested concerns about the perilous plan as Will continues his unknown game with Hannibal. As the plan is implemented, Dolarhyde ambushes the convoy, leaving Will and Hannibal to flee to a cliffside house where Hannibal had previously kept Abigail Hobbs and Miriam Lass captive. Dolarhyde follows them to the house where the final amazing showdown takes place and the wrath of the Lamb is released from Will as he faces his darkest fears as he too becomes a killer. Working together, Graham and Lecter overpower Dolarhyde and kill him. Both soaked in his blood, Graham embraces Lecter and then pulls them both over the cliff edge to an ambiguous fate of waves below. There is also a post-credit scene where Dumaria sits alone at a table set for 3 people. Her own left leg is served, cooked and prepared, much like Abel Gideon's, as she waits for her guests to arrive and dine.
Dum dum dum. We always do that after the synopsis. We can't leave it out.
No. Dun 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 dun. That was a pretty... I mean, initial impressions as essentially maybe the final episode of Hannibal on TV, at least for the foreseeable future. That was pretty epic.
I thought it was really good, actually. I thought it was going to be a bit of an anticlimax after episode 12. It wasn't at all.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to the writers and Brian Fuller that, this lived up to expectations for me. I was, like you, I was really concerned that it wouldn't because it's been paced and judged so well.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Derek?
Yeah, definitely. It was a real shock to kind of get this episode over the line. There's been so many shows that have ended on a bit of a petering out or ended off with, just the kind of wave to the fans that are still watching after this period of time. And this show really delivered on everything it had set up in the second half of the season and ended off with a fantastic note. The post-credit sequence was brilliant. And yes, turning Will into a killer and that ambiguous end that could possibly be the end of Hannibal was fantastic. Yeah, loved it.
But I think, without further ado, so we can discuss this some more, we should move from our tableau to the table. And, of course, everything in between. But the tableau is the Dolarhyde, the Red Dragon takedown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Irene, what are your thoughts on that, fantastically epic end sequence?
When you say it even, I'm just thinking of him at the very last shot of him lying on the ground with the blood, like the dragon's wings behind him.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was going to end there because he's dead. He's not going to come back from that. No. Hopefully. Hopefully not. But yeah, I thought it was going to end there. It was kind of concluded. But the fight scene, or even just everything actually, I'm going to have to say everything. Because it starts back at when he shoots the first cruiser and the van goes over and they get away. They escape. But then he's gone. Because when Hannibal was getting out of the van to go to the car and he's just throwing the policeman onto the ground, I was waiting for Dolarhyde and you're like, no, he's not coming back. Oh, it's okay. And then they're at the house and Hannibal's talking about the land has eroded and everything and you're going, he's going to come now. No. And then when you're not expecting it, there's just the bullet through and the bottle breaks.
Mm-hmm.
You're going, okay, here he is.
Yeah, it was. And not only was the blood that gave him the wings, his wings were out flapping a couple of times during the fight sequence. I love the one where he's stood over Hannibal. Will is seeing the wings spread. But in that death sequence as well, we get sort of returned back to some of the images of Dolarhyde. We have the burning William Blake painting and we have that kind of winged thing done from the film reels from the projector. which I thought was really cool as well. It kind of mirrored the blood wings on the patio. Yeah. Derek, what did you think of the scene?
The tableau was fantastic. The idea that, we start out, as Irene said, with the, I suppose, the maiming of Hannibal, something that was a complete shock to me. Did not expect a bullet to come through the window and take out Hannibal. Then we get Will getting stabbed, which I thought, wait a minute, they're not going to kill off Will in this final episode when he gets stabbed in the neck, essentially.
Yeah. And his blood is pouring.
And his blood is pouring, absolutely. But then to have the tableau of Hannibal jumping on the back of Dolarhyde and then Will coming out and taking him down as well, it's just an amazing moment, absolutely brilliantly put together. Even
when the two of them were kind of circling him.
Oh yeah, like wolves.
Yeah. Very animalistic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If wolves had knives and
if wolves had knives, yes. God, a scary world would be born.
Yeah, like I loved the way Dolarhyde appeared from the pitch black after he'd shot Hannibal. I thought that was a really cool image. And then just the whole attack I thought was really cool with the love crime music playing over it. I mean, Dolarhyde gets a few hits and stabs in. I mean, he stabs Will in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Will was dead, actually. Because a knife in the face, I mean, I saw that and thought, oh, that's like dental work, really bad dental work that is just going to be like excruciatingly painful.
Yeah, you'd feel that, like you would feel that.
And like stabs in the chest, like, a few times, and then they just go to town on him, working as a team to kind of get him.
The little axe.
Yeah, like the Achilles heel.
Slicey,
yeah. And then just that final thing where Will slices open the stomach, guts Dolarhyde, and Hannibal is there at the throat, ripping out his larynx or something. Again, the start of the digestive tract and kind of towards the end. I mean, he didn't rim him or anything, but, he could have done. So it's really, that to me was quite powerful, that whole scene where Hannibal's on top of him and Will is there having gutted, essentially like a fish, this great red dragon. One of the things I thought, and I'd be interested to get your views on it, is that Dolarhyde's motives were to watch Hannibal transform, film him, and all that, and change. Yeah. They would see the transformation. Yeah, the thing I was thinking was ultimately it was Will that transforms in that scene. And that, again, maybe Hannibal's overall plan. We'll probably come to that a bit later on, but it's actually the transformation is Will in this scene from an FBI agent, albeit one with dubious ethics over the last sort of couple of episodes, to being transformed by Hannibal and his association and connection through murder. Yeah,
I think Will definitely fulfilled his Christmas destiny. It was kind of after happening before, but wow.
Yeah. I love that you're left in no doubt that Will is a murderer here. There's no he just happened to slip and drop a knife in there. Yeah. He slices Dolarhyde open here. This is absolutely intended to show that Will has now changed completely. Yeah. And you're right, that transformation comes at the hands of Hannibal rather than at the hands of Dolarhyde. Yeah, definitely.
So it was well done that they were both obviously kind of struggling as well. Hannibal had been shot and you can see he is weakened. He can't really throw Dolarhyde off. If there wasn't the two of them together, like either one on their own or finished.
And Will at the end is kind of like saying, oh, I do look good in blood under the moonlight.
Black suits me.
Yeah. it was kind of like, sort of, like, yes, isn't that like quite beautiful? Going back, I think it's going back to a conversation he'd had with Hannibal where Hannibal says, have you ever seen blood in the moonlight? It's black and beautiful. And here's Will commenting. That's almost like a throwaway remark, like really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole scene really resonates, doesn't it? It's just like you want to put it back, watch it again.
Definitely. Like, it's a hugely powerful scene. And then finally to have Will essentially hugging into Hannibal, very bromancy.
Yeah, I thought they were going to kiss. It looked like he even angled his head. And then he kind of just nestled his head into Hannibal's neck.
No, but it definitely, like, Hannibal's going, this is exactly what I intended, this is beautiful, says Will in reply to him. And then
The lunge.
the lunge off the side of the cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. This week I've seen an interview with Brian Fuller, the creator of the show, where he's saying that essentially on that day, both actors, Hugh Dancy and Mads Mikkelsen, went that far. They left no doubt that there is definitely a homosexual undertone between these two characters, and there's probably the footage does exist of exactly what you're talking about, Irene. There's definitely some closer shots. But there's that footage was cut. Yeah, I know. There is actually a petition online to sign to have that as an extra on the DVD.
It should be, a bit of a slap and tickle.
I think a lot of fans have been looking forward to that since the first episode.
It certainly wouldn't
Blood
have
soaked porn.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have put rimming of Dollarhide out of place if that was the case. But there was a nice thing I remember from the San Diego Comic-Con chat, which was, I think it was Hugh Dancy and Richard Armitage saying that the final scene shooting, and they had to do it at night, but then as as dawn started to come, and that afterwards they all enjoyed like some nice bottles of wine, I think, or some fizz, together, the holy trinity of the dragon, the cannibal, and Will Graham. So really,
they robbed
really
a bottle
good.
of wine from the house. Didn't they? That was the gag, wasn't it? That they just secluded themselves and robbed a bottle of wine from the homeowner there. I'm sure they were well compensated for that one, though.
But I think it's an absolute fitting end, or one of them, to the season and to this episode, and also I would think a fitting start to our podcast.
So with that, John, what's your entree?
I'm going for a big, meaty, I don't know, pate, terrine, something that, to be honest, by the time I get to the main course, I'm just going to be full. I'm really, I'm going to have little nibbles of my main. This is essentially plans, counter plans, more plans, and ultimately Hannibal's plan. I love the fact that there were kind of a number of twists in this episode, but also primarily these different bluffs and double bluffs. And so you have Dollarhide and Graham working together on a plan that he says, well, I want to meet Lecter, you arrange that. Will then knowingly going to Crawford and Bloom to say, we need to use Hannibal as bait to draw out Dollarhide so that we can capture him. FBI going along with this, and the Baltimore State Prison. Then you have the situation where after Hannibal has agreed, and there's that great sort of, please, pretty please with bells on top. Hannibal's really trying to milk the situation for all it's worth. So they get Graham to go and ask him really, really nicely. I love that. That Bloom and Crawford are under no illusions that when this all goes off, and it's going to go off like clockwork, so they know exactly where it's going to happen, that both Dollarhide and Hannibal will be taken out by the FBI, that they will be killed.
Yeah.
And then we start to see just quite how deep Will is into the mire that has been created by Hannibal. And he reveals his plan, his true plan to Bedilia, that he really is going to help them escape.
Yeah.
So that he can join them, and Dollarhide's meat of Hannibal will come, and they can do their thing. Now, at this stage, we don't know whether Will would be with Dollarhide or with Hannibal, or actually still with the FBI to take them both out. And he's just let
them go. Yeah.
But it's all dubious, all these plans, and yet then Dollarhide somehow either forebodes all of this and takes out the convoy before anything can be done to actually capture him. Now, did Hannibal somehow get a message to him, or was this part of the plan that Hannibal knew this? And it comes back then, he disrupts the FBI's plans, but it ultimately comes back to, above all of this is Hannibal, who in this episode in particular has been talking about how, I'm only going to have to console myself with what you did with Frederick Chilton. It was a work of beauty, and hopefully it won't be that ugly, that kind of thing. That he's there saying, I'm going to console myself with those. Is that like an egg on to Will, to actually maybe go in for the kill finally. It's that at the end, he says, I always imagined it would happen like this. His plan.
Yeah.
And then also he's quite blatant with Alana Bloom that, you know, you gave me your all and I spun you gold. You know, I used you. And it was for this end. So also above all of this is Hannibal's grand plan. And I just thought it was great bluffs, great unraveling of the explanation and the exposition of all of this season. It was really well done. Absolutely fantastic sort of revelation and reveals being done all the way through this. But coming back to something that we suspected, which was Hannibal's at the top of the pyramid, looking down knowingly. It was great. Really, really liked it.
Yeah, he's like master of puppets.
Yeah.
He just saw it all. He knew it would all happen the way it happened.
It really
There is no free will. Will was always going to do it. He knew he was going to do it. Yeah.
What did you think of all these different plans, Derek?
What I love is that they all came to fruition. So everybody's plan was to get these three people in one location. That was everybody's plan, essentially. They all had a different version of that plan. And Dollarhide coming in, disrupting everything, taking out the FBI agents, left the three of them alone to take life's natural course, essentially, which is the lowest person on the rung is taken out. So the survival of the fittest. We didn't think Will was the fittest coming into this. We thought his brain was a little bit messed with. It is, but it turns out he is much fitter than Dollarhide, and Dollarhide pays the price. I love that. I love that that's how all of these plans work out. And yes, brilliant twists and turns in there that everybody's trying to play everybody else, but there's no way Alana Bloom or Jack Crawford or Bedilia are smarter than Hannibal or Will when they put their minds to something, and Dollarhide is another side of that. They're all, the three of them together is a great triumvirate and a very difficult group to split up. I love that this is how it ends. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. I just thought that the main thing, which was going to be my main course, was that Will actually did kill somebody.
Yeah.
Because there was loads of speculation about would it actually be, if it was him, would it be Molly or Alana? Like, would Hannibal actually get him to kill somebody as a revenge thing?
Yeah.
But it's brilliant that it's actually the dragon. And Absolutely. The three of them are involved. Like, the whole scene is brilliant. Like, that's the end.
Yeah, it's amazing and absolutely so well put together and telegraphed, I suppose, for a long time that there is these two characters up against each other, essentially, and that Hannibal's playing the two of them off each other. But yeah, a great ending.
Yeah, I mean, I just loved all the double crosses. I think you could almost tell from Will as he's hearing Jack Crawford and Alana Bloom say, we're going to kill the two of them. You see he doesn't want that to happen. You can see he's not being entirely honest with Jack Crawford in the hallway. He says he was kind of ambushed and kidnapped by Dollarhide, and that
he's not meeting his eye at all. Though. Did you notice that he's talking down to his elbow the whole time?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like it's all hugely dubious.
And even though he's been off with Jack since Jack asked him to come back anyway, because he's like, you knew what you were doing, like, and you still did it. So, but. It's more than that. That scene where Alana says, "What would you say if I said that Hannibal is gonna?" He just goes, "I'd say pretty please." It's like he seems separate to the two of them even, and I thought he was nearly kind of laughing at Alana. I know he can be flippant, but he seemed more relaxed. Like,
yeah,
do you know, we were saying before he's been quite tense. Like he seems very like. He's stressed, basically, especially after the whole thing with Molly. And I thought he seemed to stand there with his hands in his pockets and his shoulders are down, and he just seemed really relaxed. He's like he knew what was going to happen too.
Yeah. And even Hannibal, when Will goes in to say, please, pretty please, will you do this plan? He kind of goes, the plan to entice the Red Dragon. And he goes, that sounds weak even to me, Will. Like, there's an undercurrent of, why is this happening? And I think even Jack asks him and he says, I'm saying it's our best chance, not that it will actually work. And like, in a sense, Will is being found out by both these people. Yeah. But he's covering it maybe just. And
I think only just. Jack only just bought that.
Because you see Jack fuming at the sight of the convoy after it being ambushed by Dollarhide.
Yeah.
And you can see he's mad. you can see he's mad, whether it's because his plan has failed or whether he
He
in
thinks
that
Will's
moment,
double-crossed.
yeah.
Yeah.
I must say, I loved how the convoy was ambushed. I really thought the way Dollarhide sort of had obviously nicked a police car, drove up by the side of it with the sirens on, and then just, his silenced gun is cool as well, I have to say. Not that I think weapons are cool.
Was that shot of like down the barrel,
Yeah.
and he's taking out the two of them.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just such a cool weapon for him to have with the silencer, and to take them out. A bit like with Chilton in last week's episode, where the two security guards are just
Yeah,
and
just babbling away,
yeah.
and then he gets hauled out of the car.
Splat of blood
Yeah.
on the back window as the two guards are taken down. And again, you kind of get that here, where it's like you just hear that silent thud from the silencer, and then blood being splattered against windows and people being taken out. Really good. Irene, what's your entree?
Well, my entree wasn't going to be as meaty. I was just going to have maybe tiger prawns or something like that, because that was more like my main.
Yeah, I took a big entree there, but I think there's all these things happening at once. I need to get.
No, you're
them
right,
off
and that ties it together. Then
I need to get it off my chest. There's so much going on.
it's like having chowder
Absolutely.
and then not being able to have it.
That is it. Yeah. New England seafood chowder.
Seafood chowder.
There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah.
My entree was going to be just Alana and between Alana and Hannibal and Bedilia and Will, kind of the girls, basically. I thought Alana talking to Hannibal. I thought Alana was going to react more the way Bedilia did with Will. She didn't really, unless it was that she didn't want Hannibal to see that she was thinking, if you get out, we're screwed. Like,
Yeah. They are fucked, really. Aren't
yeah,
they?
yeah. And we, as you were saying, John, like we see her and Margot and their son leaving the house in this spectacular, like it's like a World War II exit from this huge big mansion. Like, and
I thought it was amazing.
yeah,
I was like,
and the two girls are so like the coiffed with the red lipstick and you're just like, oh, where did this come from? Kind of.
I know. I was like, I wouldn't mind being a verger growing up in that place. I know the kid wasn't, but I don't know. I could even have been incubated in a pig just to experience the wealth and luxury. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely, I thought we'd gone back in time. It looked like the lipstick
Even the lighting,
really bright.
Yeah.
I mean, almost like Agent Carter, the other podcast that Derek and I do on Defenders TV podcast.
It does have that look.
Plug.
Yeah.
But it, just the bright red lips, the real bright hints of colour in the clothes, coming in a sea of kind of grey and beiges. But helicopter, fantastic.
Yeah, well, it feels like this is what a perfect family looks like in Brian Fuller's Hannibal universe. This is what a perfect family looks like, It's a bit of an odd one. I think you guys have talked about it quite in depth about the coming together of these two characters and the birth of this verger baby, as you guys have called it. But yeah, this is a perfect family, and that's how the scene was shot. You're right. It is a very interesting scene right in the middle of this episode, definitely.
So the three of them are obviously in hiding.
Yeah,
including Alana.
But I love the way that they flee, and I think like that whole conversation between Alana and Hannibal in the psychiatric prison, like, was pretty intense.
Yeah.
I mean, he's essentially saying, what the game is.
You know what'll happen.
Yeah, you know what will happen, and you know what Will has done and is. You're complicit in this.
Yeah. And he says, I've let you have what you have now. Like, your wife and your son are mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They belong to me.
I loved the phrase, I spun you gold.
Yeah.
But then he's really quite harsh. I mean, the scene where he's kind of stood straight up, he's almost like looking down his nose at her, and he's saying, you died in my kitchen. Everything else is borrowed time. Your child and wife are mine. I mean, it's like, that's proper creepy.
Yeah. And she can't say anything because she needs a favour from him. But her face is set, and obviously then we see her going into hiding. So she did probably really react in her head the way Bedilia reacted when Will said it, which was just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, we're all dead, like, if you do this. And Will's just like, yeah, best of luck now.
See you later. Yeah.
Hope you're ready. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
you ready or not, here he comes. That's what he says.
Absolutely. I mean, but I think that links into my main, which is Bedilia and her glass of whiskey, probably a bottle of whiskey that she had. I mean, I just loved it. I mean, I think my notes have a smiley face in it because I just had to make the point that I was broad smile, broad grin, chuckling away at the fact that Bedilia, the classic poise, the classic paced delivery of language is absolutely unhinged by what Will has just told her, that he intends on releasing Hannibal to then allow him to join him and to kill people. And it goes back to like last week's episode where she's basically saying, well, I'm safe. He's in prison.
I've survived him.
I've survived him. And it's just that she's drinking this whiskey. And then, how your proposals are so thoughtless. I mean, personally, if it wasn't Bedilia, you would be expecting her to go, "Oh, fuck off," and like phone the police.
You're fucking joking me. What are you doing?
Idiot. And like, what are you doing? And I love that she calls him you religious, twitchy little man. I thought it was a great description. Like, I was just thinking, no, you want to say you fucking prick, not you
I'm dead. You know what you're doing, like.
And certainly, given what we're going to talk about in the in the table, I just thought this whole scene, there was Smoke Will, Bedilia, taken off track. Yeah. She's taken off track.
Yeah, she says he'll hardly be caught a second time.
Yeah.
And Will goes, I didn't really intend him to be caught a second time.
Exactly. Like, I suppose the worrying thing is that Bedilia knows what we all know. No matter how much you love Hannibal, it's not just Bedilia and it's not just Alana that are not safe here. They're just the first victims of Hannibal. Hannibal will take out anybody who he believes is rude. Once he's released on the world, he will start on his killing spree again, just like he did before. He'll find a way to get anybody. So, yes, they are thinking of themselves to begin with, but they are going to be the first victims of Hannibal if he gets released.
Yeah,
they're absolutely right. What are you doing, Will? Leave him in there. But yeah,
and including Will, I'm sure Will knows he's not really safe either. Like,
yeah, and I mean,
he loves him anyway.
Will, what does he say in his smugness? This twitchy little man in his smugness goes, meat is back on Bedilia, pack your bags kind of thing. It's really funny. I mean, I also immediately thought of Lord of the Rings as well, but I had two other film references in this. I had a Train Spotting reference where just after Hannibal is shot, he goes, I see you decided to choose life, Francis. And I just thought of Train Spotting. Right. And then as soon as he goes, meat is back on Bedilia, all I could think of was one of the orcs in Lord of the Rings that goes, meat is back on the menu, boys.
Right. Yeah.
So apologies for my weird references to other films that may or may not actually be real to this particular scene. But that's how I sort of reference some of these things sometimes. But I thought it was really funny. Great classic scene. I love the fact completely that Bedilia was knocked off balance. Loved it. Really liked it.
I'd say Will was thinking, do you know, that nearly made all this worth it?
Yeah.
Because we've said before, but they're quite antagonistic anyway when they're talking to each other. And he's just like really enjoying the fact that he's unsettled her and she wasn't able to hide it because he caught her by surprise.
Yeah. So I think moving on to dessert, and Derek, you've got a slice of dessert for us.
Yeah, as I've joined the table as the meal has been progressing throughout these 13 episodes, I thought I would share my biggest point from this episode, which is the treatment at the beginning of the episode of Reba. So at the end of last episode, we saw Reba being kidnapped by Dollarhide and brought to his house. I loved this scene. I think you guys alluded to it last week, that you knew there was a fire involved in Reba's character. You knew that it was going to happen at some stage. But I love how this all played out, that essentially Dollarhide is actually releasing Reba. He's not going to kill her. But he looks to her to prove that he's dead, essentially. He puts the key over his neck and asks her to touch it and find her way to the front door while the fire is going on, and then blows his own face off. at the beginning of the episode.
Amazing.
That was just a shocking scene, because I thought that's actually how the show was going to end Dollahide. I thought this is exactly what was happening. I thought he'd accomplished his plan, blew his own face off, and then poor Reba is left in a burning down building, sticking her hands in a pile of goo to pull out a key. It wouldn't surprise me. The series has done elements like that before, but luckily they didn't write off the character of Dollahide right at the beginning. But poor Reba, my gosh, that girl has gone through some bad stuff. Talking about picking poor partners. I felt so sorry for her after going through this. She said before weirdos get attracted by her being blind, but gosh, she really attracted the wrong type of weirdo here. But a brilliant scene, really well put together, and I really liked that Reba at least is safe. She's away from the situation and she can go on with her life after this now.
Yeah, I was really glad to see she got away.
Yeah.
I love that shot through the head of from behind. Really, I mean, that's a great kind of shot that, well, in terms of the actual shotgun shot, but also the camera shot. Like, it's a classic one where you see through the hole. It again
just
reminded
before
me,
it drops,
Shaun of the Dead with the zombie pulling herself off the clothes line and seeing the big hole in her stomach. But that was really cool. I love the way they were obvious about showing what he was doing. Not that you necessarily noticed it right at the start. It was only when the FBI sort of quickly came to the conclusion that, look, this isn't Dollahide. This is some guy who's gone missing. But I love the fact then that the whole key around the neck, the fact that he's testing her as well, go and lock the door and all this. I love when Reba's crawling through the fire as well, that I think there's a cuckoo clock, or it's the wall clock that helps her get out. She can locate herself, and because of that, I like the way they did that. I thought that was really good. I like the way he says to her, I can't keep him off you. And I love her response where she kind of just pleads at him, goes, please try, please try.
Yeah.
But then just moving into Reba then in hospital, and Will comes to visit her, and this is the ruse at this moment in time, that he's dead, he's committed suicide, and that's all kind of finished. And Hannibal goes, ding dong, the dragon's dead. But I thought Will's comments at the bedside were really kind of interesting, where she goes, I pulled a freak, says Reba, and Will's kind of going, there is nothing wrong with you. You pulled a man with a freak on his back, and he's almost been quite sensitive about Dollahide.
Yeah, I thought he was very kind to her, considering we haven't seen that side of him at all, really, lately.
Yeah. And part of me, that's why I wondered whether actually he was going to kill Hannibal, or not Hannibal, but he wasn't necessarily going to kill Dollahide. I mean, for him to then do what he did at the end, attacking Dollahide with Hannibal, it seemed kind of in contrast to what he was saying to Reba, but maybe that, again, was all just a front. Maybe he's so deeply fucked up, basically, with Hannibal in his head.
Yeah. It was before he got stabbed in the face by Dollahide.
It was kind of self-defense, though. I mean, if your friend got shot, you'd be on guard.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
You see, I am getting desensitized to the violence. Like, it's just a knife to the face. Why would you worry?
You got over it fairly quick.
Yeah, I'd be like,
That'd be me then. It took me 2 years. I'd still be going on about it.
Right.
So,
Irene, what's your scrumptious dessert?
My dessert is Hannibal's hip-hop culture reference. When Will has to go back in and do his little plead, and Hannibal says that the last time he left his cell, and he gets the dig in about the only way that would happen is if you rejected me, and Will says yes, and he just says goodbye and he walks out. And Hannibal goes, you dropped the mic, Will, but now you have to pick it back up again. He's like when you try and make a big exit out of a room and then you forget your phone and you have to go back in. It's like, sorry, excuse me.
He didn't drop.
He's like, he does have to pick the mic back up and go, yeah, I know I said that, but actually, could you do us a favour?
Exactly. Could you give me money for a taxi fare home from your house? Kind of thing.
Now that I've slammed out.
He didn't drop the mic, right?
Yeah. Will needs him again.
Yeah, great little moment there.
Yeah, that was a nice little moment.
John, what's your dessert?
Mine is seeing Frederick Chilton. I was really pleased that we saw him again, although in a fairly disturbing way in the recovery chamber. Again, lipless. I mean, fantastic makeup. And again, Raul Espanza, really, really good. And I loved this whole conversation where he reminds Alana Bloom, who comes to visit, that she is capable of this. Graham was capable of this. This wasn't necessarily just Dolarhyde. Again, he's saying that Chilton knows that Alana Bloom, maybe unwittingly, is complicit in it, but she's in too deep to be able to turn back and do anything else. But I thought she was quite cold to him, saying that she came to remind herself what Hannibal is capable of. Like, that was pretty cold. I think I'd be trying to touch the hospital button to get the nurses in to get her thrown out. It was like, this isn't helping my recovery or my state of mind. Like, get this cow out of here, kind of thing. I thought it was really cold of her. And I liked that essentially he got a dig back into it. He says, you were the roper, but only enough to rope me, not yourself. She really did throw him under the bus and allowed Hannibal to do the same. And I feel a bit sorry for Chilton here, I think. Mm-hmm. I know he's still a bit of a knob, but...
Oh, nobody deserves that.
No, it's horrific.
I really felt sorry for him. And I again, my feelings towards Lana Bloom kind of hardened, really. And I thought, hopefully the helicopter will just, they'll lift off from the mansion and it'll just plummet into the side of the mountain. Yeah.
Wow, you are desensitized to violence now, aren't you? The perfect family in the Hannibal universe die in a fiery plane crash or helicopter crash now. My gosh.
I didn't really take it that she was being cold. I thought it was more of a kind of, she's distracted because she's just...
Maybe.
But no, it is cold. Obviously it's cold. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it was intentionally that bad. I think she kind of distractedly says that she came in to remind herself what Hannibal is capable of. And then she said, I would have come to see you before, but...
But it's that moment where you don't say what you're thinking.
Yeah, it is that. And then she kind of looks like, oh, I said that out loud.
Bring him some grapes or a bunch of flowers. And
some skin. There's nobody else for some skin.
I hope, get well soon kind of thing. A card.
Here's your teddy and your helium balloon.
But... as she said, he never felt good in his own skin, ever. So how would he feel good in Hannibal's? Because he does have a bit of a fantasy moment where he wants to get into Hannibal's skin.
And then he says, did you feel good in Hannibal's skin?
Yeah,
nice little touch there. Nice dig.
It was really good. And it also reminded me then of just the whole Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs with the skin coat.
Yeah.
Really nice to bring it back to skin. The largest organ.
Maybe they could get that from.
Maybe you could build that out of many women. Yes, possibly. Yeah. But I do like that touch, as you say, John. I suppose Alana does know exactly what Hannibal's capable of. When she makes that choice to throw Chilton under the bus, she decided that she'd step back from their plan, essentially, to draw out Dolarhyde in episode 7, I think. She's the one that made that decision to kind of go, okay, well, Chilton can say the stuff that I say, so let him say it. And then Will put the hand on the shoulder to say that he's the pet, so kill him first, essentially. So she's very complicit. She knows absolutely what Hannibal's capable of. I think she just wants to know, if we free him, what would he really do to me? Will it be as bad as Chilton or far worse? And that will make the decision as to whether she'll run off with the family and go into hiding. So it is just to remind herself. She does know, but it's just a reminder to herself of how bad it could get for her and for the family. Because they will definitely be under the crosshairs of Hannibal as well.
Yeah. I'm sure he'd take delight. I don't even want to think about what he'd do. But it would give him great pleasure, seeing as the Chilton thing, but it's put him in excellent humour.
Mm-hmm. Got a nice little tasty morsel last time as well, so
Yeah.
perhaps.
No, absolutely. Well, I think with that we can move on to coffee and to notes. Are there any notes for this final episode?
One of the notes for me, if I can go first, one of the notes for me that I really, really liked was the references to the characters that were missing, essentially, the big characters from the show. You really can tell that this is the final episode of quite a long-running series when they're making reference to Abigail and to Miriam Lass, who are both taken to the same location where this final showdown is set. It's really good that they make these references and kind of tie the whole show together in this final episode. I really love those little touches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like those nods back, and I think they're really good at keeping characters alive even when they're dead, or relevant even when maybe they don't necessarily always need to be there. I like that they keep them involved, like having Chilton back even in this final episode.
Bedilia.
It's been a real Bedilia. Two characters that have been really good within the whole series. And I think it's really nice and fitting that they are in the finale, along with most other people, or at least a reference to them,
Yeah.
Definitely.
And Zeller and Price, the forensic guys.
Exactly, yeah. To have them back was really, really good as well. Yeah, that was one of my notes, definitely, was that Price and Zeller were there. I like the fact that they crack the case in relation to Dollarhide's presumed suicide by talking about the dentures, and ultimately that they're so excited that they've managed to reveal something through this burnt out corpse that's just there on the pathology table in front of them. I loved it. A really good, again.
And they do voices and everything.
Yeah, it was really good.
Brilliant.
Oh, I can't watch you burn. It's like, and I love the fact that they said that they found the man's actual teeth were on his body, but the ones in his mouth were the Chinese ones that Dollarhide had made.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he get rid of those ones? Obviously, he didn't care that they knew.
Yeah. It would buy him enough time, I suppose, or something like that. Yeah, I really like that. And I think I actually like the whole. I know it's kind of a big piece, and we've kind of alluded to it in part, but I love that. I love it when Hannibal challenges Will's domestic bliss with Molly, where Will is essentially trying to convince himself that he's going to go back to Molly and Walter and all the dogs and everything's going to be happy.
Yeah, because he likes it there.
And all that. And just the fact that Hannibal goes, when it becomes maddeningly polite, think about me, Will. I love that. And he has another great line, I think we've said it again, where he says, there is the constellation of Frederick Chilton. You did good work there. And there's that whole accusation. He calls him a cunning boy. And Will almost gets slightly affronted by it. But he comes back to, does the enemy inside you agree with the accusation? And I think that's going back to episode 5 or 6 in Italy, where he talks about this enemy inside of Will. And here it really comes roaring to the front in this episode. So I love that little, again, nod back and interconnections with other episodes. I mean, loads of interconnections with all different aspects of this season. And then just the complexity of the episode with the plans, the bluffs, the double crosses, the twists. Fantastic. Great episode.
The bluffs and the bluff.
And the bluff, yeah. And the bluff's eroding. Definitely. I think with that, we can move on to our final big point, which is the table. And this is the Bedilia post-credit scene, where she is sat legless because of all the whiskey. I mean, left legless because of drinking all the whiskey, with a table laid out in front of her. Her leg looking rather tasty and scrumptious and delicious, steaming away, piping hot, with another 2 places set at the table. So 3 places set at the table, but only her.
So is that Alana and Jack? Is that what you thought?
Well, no. Did she cut her leg off and serve it, thinking that Hannibal
was coming back,
or Hannibal and Will was coming back, or are Hannibal and Will maybe just upstairs taking a shower after they've prepared her leg and cut it and had a bit of, post-leg sawing sex?
Yeah. I was reading in Variety, Brian Fuller said he thinks Hannibal is still alive. And I was going, he thinks he survived the fall. But, so I was thinking that Hannibal was like in the kitchen or something. That she was sitting there, like, because she was told to sit there, and the places are for whoever is to come. But that makes more sense what you said, that she's sitting there, because the way she is like she's waiting for the door or something. So it makes more sense that she thought that they were coming back.
Yeah.
But did she do it? I mean, can she... You've
her
seen
own leg.
those films where they've tried to cut through their own arm or their own leg and how difficult that is.
She has all the drugs, though.
Well, that's true.
She's full of whiskey.
Full of whiskey.
Yeah.
But I think she's definitely resigned to the fact that Hannibal will be back. So I think Hannibal is back. In that sense, I would agree with Brian Fuller. I think he survived that fall. You see no bodies. It's a long...
You can't even see, and I looked, there's no sign of anybody down there. So there's a little edge just here.
Yeah.
And the two of them are just here.
But
I
then...
hope.
So that's Hannibal. I don't think she's resigned enough that she would take her own leg unless she absolutely had to. Because she might decide to do a run for it, and she can't now. She'd have to, hop along. Be like,
She tried to run before.
Hi ho, Silver, hop along.
Yeah.
Like, so...
I didn't even think of that it was her that cut off her leg.
I think it makes more sense that someone has done that to her, but she's resigned to the fact, I think.
Right.
But who's the third person?
Or the end is
Will?
that she's sitting there, she did it, and they're not coming
No.
back.
But no, exactly. That's the other end. And
Yeah.
both are plausible. But, again, I haven't read the books, but Red Dragon is before Silence of the Lambs. Bedilia is not a character from the books.
That's right.
It's certainly in the same way as Gideon. It's a Gideon-esque thing. So Hannibal will probably keep her alive until... It could be even for another 6 months whilst he slowly, puts snails all over it. And
I wonder, did she keep up her diet of the sweet wine and the oysters and the hazelnuts?
yeah.
Well, she did say that she'd gotten away. She said that she'd escaped, so she'd returned to her real life. We
Yeah,
know
so
that she's now
Domino's
drinking
and
whiskey,
Chinese and-
so... Yeah, totally, yeah. I'd say she'd on pizza every single
She
day.
looks like
since
she
then.
does, yeah.
Oh, no.
She
But-
does not. Jesus, I'm being sarcastic.
But it was definitely spooky, isn't it, Mulder?
Oh, so that's really creepy if you're thinking that she did it.
Yeah, I really do like the openness of this final scene because, there is still a possibility we'll see more Hannibal. This is the end of season 3 on NBC in the US and obviously on Sky Living in the UK, unfortunately. But they have said the characters can come back. And I know Brian Fuller has always been trying to get the rights for Silence of the Lambs, so that means he doesn't necessarily need Will to come back. All he needs is Mads and potentially a new set of characters. And obviously Jack can return, obviously in a fourth season or in a short season, essentially. But yeah, I like how open it is. It's essentially Bedilia. I think Bedilia cooking her own leg to say, I am totally, if Hannibal is still alive, I am totally prepared for what he's going to do to me because I can never get away from it. So I'm going to just prepare
give up to
myself.
it.
He's going to come over to my house and we're going to just resume our old relationship where he is totally in control of the situation. Unfortunately, I think that's what she's done. So,
She's
and the
gone
other,
a little bit mental.
a little bit mental. And I do think
Yeah.
the other setting is for Will because Will told her he'll
Yeah.
be with Hannibal
Right,
next time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I think so too. I think she thinks that Will and Hannibal are going to come back, probably having been married, probably in one of the more progressive sort of maybe states like
Ireland.
like Ireland. Yeah, then maybe they popped over. Maybe they got washed over to Ireland.
I'd go.
Yeah.
I think we'd all be
I buy him
made
a
to
toaster.
go. Yeah.
But
Don't be rude at the wedding either.
but if
important.
they don't, I mean, there's a lovely leg wasted. You'd go cold.
She'll just keep heating it up again.
Then it'd be ruined. It would
Yeah.
be
She'd
She'll end
tender.
up having leg sandwiches for weeks.
It'd be like Christmas leg curry.
You put enough mayonnaise on it, it'll be okay.
Like stir fry. Oh no. Yeah, it'd be like Christmas with the turkey. What we've got today, it's leg supreme. But I think with that, Irene, would you leave a tip for episode 13 of Hannibal, The Wrath of the Lamb? Would you return to this restaurant?
I definitely would. I would return again and again until they explain the end to me. No, I would. I would exhaust the menu and try everything.
But absolutely. Derek, would you leave a tip at this restaurant? Would you return? Would you recommend it to a friend?
Oh, 100%. I'd be back every single day to this restaurant. I love what they've delivered, and obviously this being my only episode of the season, I want to say I will revisit this season many times over, just like I have for the first 2 seasons. I loved this episode, particularly a beautiful closeout to an amazing show, definitely.
I think it's really going to be a DVD box set cult classic.
Definitely.
Like if they waited 2-3 years to do season 4, I think there'd be so many more people watching it.
Yeah, very, very, very possible, yeah.
What do you think, John? Would you give it a tip?
I would leave a big stonking tip, definitely. I think I would definitely recommend it to a friend to go in and check it out. This restaurant is fantastic. And for that, I am going to give it high praise indeed and give it 5 leg Bedelias out of 5 because I think to pull this off in a classy, complex way, tying into previous seasons, but also stuff from this season is a really great feat. To do what they did with Will Graham as well, Bedelia's feat, in fact, to do what they did with Will Graham, really good. I loved the final showdown with Dolarhyde, amazing. The little, Marvel MCUing of Hannibal by having a post-credit scene, a reverse Bond, really, really good. Keeps it going, keeps the talk going, really clever. Bedilia with the whiskey, fantastic. I love Bedilia in a tight situation. I could watch that for hours. And then having the other cast members like Jack and Alana and Frederick, all the Price and Zeller, links back to the first season with Miriam Lass, finding his little cubby hole where he does all this dirty stuff. Fantastic. Really, really good. So for that reason, to pull together this, quite frankly, amazing 3 seasons and a great 2-parter of a season with Italy and then the Red Dragon storyline into
Doesn't
this.
that seem like it sounds
really good.
hard to believe the same season.
Yeah.
The whole feel of this first half was completely different.
Yeah. More snails.
Yeah.
Tons of snails.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shellicky bookies.
Yeah, it is an amazing season. It was just having all that storyline crammed into those 13 episodes. I would have loved to have seen more, and hopefully we will see more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we will certainly be back for our prime cuts of season 3, our favourite 5 points of season 3.
How are we going to do 5 points for the whole season?
10 points?
I think we should do 10.
Okay, 10 points. Yeah, real short, sharp and snappy.
Yeah.
Because we can talk a lot. And even maybe 1 or 2 things possibly that maybe didn't like so much. And there's not been much of that.
No,
but
there hasn't.
maybe on reflection, you could go, didn't like all the snail porn at the start, or maybe, whatever. Who knows?
Yeah, shut up, John. There's not going to be any points
No,
you
there
didn't
isn't.
like
I
about
know.
this season.
I'm trying.
No, there was 1 or 2, but even the 1 or 2 that we didn't like was only compared to the other stuff that we loved. So,
like a public broadcaster, I'm trying to provide balance. But no, I mean, it will be difficult because I loved it. And of course, we may do our
the steam train.
Oh, yes.
Yes, the steam train. But I like trains, so that, even though it could have been a slight negative, was a bit of a positive for me. Nothing like seeing a good bit of train action. But as well, we may also, begin the backwards reverse unpicking of Hannibal as well. We don't know quite yet, but I know we did say, I think in our first or second episode, that we may even go back and look at seasons 1 and 2, given that we were late to the table, as it were, on Hannibal. But we've enjoyed the other seasons so much, and we've enjoyed this in particular, and we've enjoyed podcasting about it, that we also will definitely be back. And maybe by the time we finish going back through season 2 and season 1, doing it in reverse with a slightly different perspective, season 4 may be turning up, or Brian Fuller movie, and Brian Fuller may have gotten the rights to Silence of the Lambs at that stage. So who knows? Anything is possible in the wonderful, magical world of television.
Come on, be right.
Hashtag save Hannibal.
Hashtag mic drop.
But yeah, but with that, we do have some final bit of feedback. So we are going to head into the psychiatrist's chair. Before we get into the feedback as well, we just need to do a quick little explanation as to why we do have Tiny Dancer by Elton John as our theme tune for In the Psychiatrist's Chair. And that's because it sounds like Dancy. Hugh Dancy, Will Graham. So Hold Me Closer, Tiny Dancy, maybe? Maybe it's Will.
That at some point,
Yeah.
I think in our heads. That may have been off air, actually.
No, if you listen,
it's in the air.
Oh, it's in the air.
If you listen to the Comic-Con episode,
Slightly off key now, but
I did put it in as your little outtake at the end of that episode. So a little secret moment if you didn't get to just after the credits.
But without further ado, we do have some feedback from our longtime feedback friend David, and this is on the last episode. He goes, "Dear John and Irene, I really don't have too much to say this time, except I hope you'd enjoyed the UK and Ireland broadcast of the season finale, including the special appearance of Margot and her son, and the Siouxsie Sioux song at the climax and end credits. Siouxsie Sioux, I'm glad I got that out, definitely. I've only heard one of her songs before, Face to Face, which was part of the Batman Returns original soundtrack. And boy, are those two tonally and lyrically compatible. If Love Crime is Hannibal's song, then Face to Face would make the perfect Will Graham song. Hope to hear your thoughts on the show soon. All in all, I do think it's been quite the overwhelming experience. And if and when you get back to covering the previous 2 seasons of Hannibal, rest assured that I, for one, would be on the bandwagon as well. Sincerely, David." Thank you so much, David, for that feedback, and we certainly hope you will be joining us for our look back over seasons 2 and 1. And I completely get you. Love Crime was a fitting soundtrack to be played whilst Hannibal and Will are taking down or circling Francis Dolarhyde. It was really good. I'll have to, wasn't it just? Yeah. I'll have to go and listen to Face to Face as well to hear that song. I don't know it, but certainly I'm hoping it is a perfect accompaniment to Will Graham as his song. It certainly was a journey. This final episode of Hannibal, episode 13. So thank you so much for all your feedback. David also sent in some other feedback for some of the earlier episodes, and in our Prime Cuts edition, where we look back at in its entirety on season 3, we will be bringing that feedback from episode 11 in on that episode. So if anyone else wants to bring any feedback in as well for our Prime Cuts retrospective look back at season 3, then feel free to do so on feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com. Again, thank you so much, David, for your feedback. Really a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thanks, David.
Hope you enjoyed episode 13 as well, as the same to all our listeners. We will be back for Prime Cuts, but remember, before then, if you want to send in your Prime Cuts for season 3, please do, and we can share them out in the Psychiatrist's Corner again. Remember, you can contact us with feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com or through our Twitter handle @tvpodindustries. Just tweet at us to your heart's content, and we will be there ready to tweet back. Remember, you can find all our podcasts on Hannibal, as well as podcasts from our other shows that we cover Gotham, Marvel's Daredevil, Marvel's Agent Carter, all on tvpodcastindustries.com. You can access them on their websites through there. You can also go and listen and subscribe on www.tvpodcastindustries.com/iTunes or any other good podcast catcher. Just search TV Podcast Industries. Yeah, and with that, thank you so much for listening. What a great episode to close out season 3 on. Thank you, Derek, for joining us and providing your input into this special episode 13. And we will be back with episode 14 on our prime cuts of season 3. And we hope you can enjoy them with us. Thank you again so much for listening. And we'll see you soon, Fannibals. Bye.
Yeah, thank you all so much for listening. It's been really good joining you guys as well for this episode. And yeah, thank you very much for everything you've done this season.
Derek sandwich?
Yeah, Derek sandwich is always good. Sandwiches.
With Bedelia's leg. Bye.
Ugh. Bye. Bye.
Chase to end our time.